All right, guys. Well done to today's tutorial, and without further ado, today we're going to be talking about um cleaning and transforming data, and the file we're going to be using is a sample superstore file. The sample superstore is actually an Excel workbook file, and then without further ado, we're going to bring it straight, load it straight to the Power BI desktop, like so. From Excel here. We brings out all the files that all the Excel files in my system is brought out for us. And then I'm going to go straight to my sample superstore, double click, and then allow it to load into the Power BI desktop. All right, so while that's going on, once again, we're dealing with cleaning and transforming data. All right, so in other words, we can call that data shaping. Data shaping has to do with transforming data by renaming columns and also renaming tables, removing rows, setting the first row as headers and all of that. So these are transformations, right? All right, so let's see how to load them in. So we have 3 tables from our Excel workbook. We have 3 tables in here: orders, returns, and users. We're going to see how to load them quickly into the Power BI desktop. All right, so while the loading is going on, and we should take note that actually we are going to be transforming. We're going to be causing kind of like removing certain things that we don't want from our data. Now that's what we call data cleaning. We're going to transform it. We're going to see how to like perform some renaming of columns, renaming of tables, removing some rows, and all of that. That's what we're going to be performing right now in this particular tutorial. All right, now our data is being loaded, and then from the right side, we can see that from the right corner, um, where we have from the fields page, we can see that we have 3 tables loaded from our sample superstore workbook. We have the orders, we have the returns, and we have the users table. All right, so we can then expand them. Let's expand the orders table. We see everything. Okay, that's cool. Then we can expand the users table, the returns table. Okay, we also can expand the users table. All right, now, but I could spot something. There's an anomaly here. We have the column 1 and column 2 from the users table, and let's still dig deep to see whether actually it's an anomaly. Is there something we can do to effect the change there? Is it necessary? Okay, let's go to the table view to also look at it. The table view gives us a more elaborate view of our information at tables. Now we can tell that we have about 9,460 rows and all of that. So well, let's look at the returns, and then let's look at the users table. Okay, so actually I'm going to be looking at the users table. Look at the one I clicked it and then it popped. All right, so we have from our status here, we have 5 rows. Okay, let me get back home. We're going to get back home quickly, and then we're going to perform some transformation. Now, before we do that, I'm going to be introducing what we call the Power Query Editor. The Power Query Editor is a kind of like an extension of the Power BI desktop where it allows for transformation, it allows for data shaping, right? So that is the place where all this transformation we'll be talking about will be performed. All right, so how do we bring that in now? We just move straight on our home, then come down here. We have this icon, this drop down, that we see transform data. I click on that, transform data, and then voila, the Power Query Editor is now a separate window and is popping out for us to perform the transformations we want to perform. All right, so without further ado now, there's one thing we should learn here is that on the left side of well, Windows, we can find the orders, return, and users table, but now the core queries here. Here the core queries in the Power Query Editor. All right. So now our key a bone of contention here is actually the users table. Now let's open the users table so that we can see what we can do there. Okay, so on the users table here we can see that we have column 1 and column 2, which is not really descriptive of the kind of data that we have there. Then we have region and we have managers, right? So there's nothing about users here. So it means that actually this was meant to be the managers table. So the first transformation we're going to perform is to turn this users table, users to managers table. How do we do that? We right click on users and then rename it, okay? And rename it, and I'm going to call that managers, like that. Managers, and I enter, and that effect is done for us. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to do something here. We have region and manager. Like I said before, the column 1 and column 2 is not really descriptive of the information here. So we're going to be using region and manager as the headers for, these are the first Okay, this is actually the first row of this table. We're going to use that to be our header. So we just move on down the transform panel and then use first row as header, click on that, and voila, that's going to pop. So we see the regional manager happening now to take the place of the headers now. So the next thing we're going to be performing is to duplicate this manager column. Why? Because I want to break it down into manager first name and then manager last name. Okay. So what do? I'm going to right click here and then I come to duplicate column and that's done. Okay. I'm going to rename this manager. I click on manager, I right click and I say rename. Okay. Then I say manager underscore first. Okay. And I enter. Then for this one, I can simply double click. So the same process, the manager underscore last. Okay. Then I enter. All right, that's cool. Okay, the next thing we're going to be performing is this. Now, where we have manager first to be Chris, and then the last name should be something else. So we're going to be changing the Chris there. I'll replace Chris there with Evans. So I'm going to right click like so and replace values. So where we have Chris, I'm going to change the Chris there to Evans. So I call this Evans and then I okay. Perform the same transformation to Erin. Where we have Erin, we're going to change Erin, replace Erin with Rogers. Okay. Then I okay. And then Sam, I'm going to right click and replace Sam with Smith. And Smith, the musician, Sam Smith. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to replace Williams with Jackson. Jackson, Viola. Okay. And that's fine. All right, there's something very important we have to learn here. There's something you have to take note of. Now, on the right side of this Power Query editor, we have the query settings, properties, and then the apply steps. We can see every step that we apply, every transformation we've done is being recorded in steps, one after the other. So we can always iterate, we can always go back. Okay, so like for instance, now this Jackson, I want it off. Maybe I don't want that to happen. I say, okay, I'm going to close that step. And then it returns back to Billion here. Okay, so that just like you're kind of like undoing an action that you've done. Like, okay, so I want that William back. So I want to right click William again and then replace values back. I want my Jackson back, I mean to say. So Jackson comes back again and that's it. So we've been able to perform very cool transformation on the manager's table. We're not done. Let's get back to others table and perform some transformation as well there. So we get to the other query because we're in the Power Query editor. Let's make some transformation there. All right. Now, looking at the status bar here, we can tell that we have 24 columns, 999 plus rows and all that information. Now, we want to see how to trim down this number of columns to something lesser. All right. So I just want to drop some columns now. Where we have the managed columns, I would have simply say remove columns, right? But that is kind of like a destructive way of transformation, where once you've removed it, it's gone for forever. You can't bring it back, you can make reference to that again. But with the choose column here, I can actually say, okay, maybe I should bring something back. So let me just click on the choose column and let's see what happens. Now we have this dialog coming out and then we have all of this. All the columns that we have is being displayed for us to see. Now that we have all the columns here, I'm going to keep and then I'm going to remove some columns. All right, so I'm going to deselect the following columns. I'll select the following columns and then they include number one, the row ID. I don't want the row ID, so that's off. The order priority, I don't want that's off. I don't want to keep product based margin, I don't want that. So that's off. I don't want quantity ordered new. Quantity ordered new. Okay, I don't want that too. So those are the 4 columns I don't want, then I okay. Quickly, that's been updated for us. And we're looking at the status, we can see that we have 20 columns. Okay. All right. So another transformation I want to perform is looking at the state or province column. So let me just move to the state or province column like this. State or province column. All right, so here is it. So where we have the state of province column, I'm simply going to change. First of all, I'm going to rename this to state. I double click like this and allow it to be just state. And I okay, but I'm not still done. On this filters here, the drop down, I want to, and it brings me all the state that we have there. So you can click on the load mode. Load mode also actually bring out all in case there are other underlying information. So you bring in everything so that you can see. Okay, so I'm not going to select all the states, so I'm going to deselect this first so I can select the ones I want. So I want to keep Arizona Combs. I want to keep California. I want to keep Florida. I want to keep New Jersey. So I roll down New Jersey. And also want to keep New York City. So these are the 5 states that I want to keep. And then now, all right, having done with that, I can now say okay, and I commit that. Okay, but I'm not still done. I want to also I want them to be in ascending order. All right, so I want to like do my sorting in ascending order like this. Then I can start using our common friends. Right? So those are the transformation we've been able to perform. And this is very cool thing. So all this transformation was made possible in the Power Query Editor. Now that we've done everything we've done our transformation, it's not yet affected in the Power BI desktop. So we have to load it. So how do we do that? We close and apply. Once we close and apply like so, all the things we've done here will be affected in the Power BI desktop. So we now have our changes affected in the Power BI desktop. All right. So in a nutshell, we've been able to learn how to use the Power Query Editor to make some transformation, some data shaping, and after all the transformation have been made to a satisfaction, we can now apply and close and load it back to the Power BI environment. All right. So that's the side of it. Have a wonderful day.